One question I would like to ask, if pardon me, if it's not too personal, if you had known everything that you were going to deal with, everything you were going to see, everything you were going to face when you first signed up all those years ago, would you do it all over again?
Yeah, absolutely.
And why?
Um, this is something where it's different for everyone. Me, like more so is, it it's trying to like put the foundations in place that we're trying to make a better. America does try to make like an overall better place, like for what we're trying to do. And I think that you the original reason we were in Afghanistan versus the reason we were there 20 years ago, maybe they were aligned in some principles, right? The initial was, hey, we're going to take back and defend America. And 20 years later, we're trying to build a country that one doesn't harbor terrorists, but at the same time is self-sufficient. So it's that embodiment of America where we want people to be able to have the same lives that we do. Is that achievable? No. Just being straight honest, like I think that's very hard, especially for a country like with the literacy rate and the things that are there. I think there's a very big correlation on a country's ability to like change versus like how educated they are. And I'm not saying that in a negative connotation. Like I don't mean that. Like I wish like that Afghanistan had the chance to like everyone to understand that it's a very tribal still led thing. And kind of going back there, it's one is getting to see like I want people across the world to be able to have those same things that we have in life. Like you don't have to worry about like your daughter going to school or the education that she's going to have, or to be like taken care of in a or for her to be thought of in a certain way because of a religion states it. You want to make sure that people have running water, and you want to make sure that they like can have a lot of those things. And granted, we have organizations that go do that. There's a lot of NGOs that are still there that are still fighting for those things. Like looking back on all the conflict, all the things, like all the things that a lot of veterans go through, is at the end of the day, like one, I do believe that like the mission in Afghanistan originally set out was to kind of make sure that America wasn't attacked again, and making sure that like we wouldn't see that like fellow Americans wouldn't fall in the towers like they did, or like the flight or the Pentagon that was attacked. We wanted to make sure that Americans were safe, that like you didn't have to worry about that. And I think that mission was achieved. I think the world got to see the resolve of Americans that day. Um, that we're in this fight, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. The money side, politicians may have one thing, but the resolve of Americans is, we're there to fight. I was in fourth grade when 9/11 happened. So I grew up fighting. I mean, I enlisted and was part of a war that I grew up in. 9/11 I was a kid. And, I was part of that kind of fight coming up. It's like, hey, we were kids then, but we're here now. And we're part of a wave of Americans that, we will stand at her defense at all costs.